Hey Polkadad fan club, it's me Polkadad, and I'm doing just a quick video on getting started in competitive play, tournament etiquette, and just how to best prepare for it. So let's just talk a little bit about what to expect when you go to a Pokemon tournament. So you've made the decision that you want to go from just casual play to actually competitive play. Well, the first thing you can expect is you're gonna need to the best way to start is to register online if the tournament that you're going to allows for that. First of all, if you do that, it's going to allow you to probably get put into a bigger door prize pool because they really like it when people register online. So sometimes they pick prizes just for people who register online. Secondly, it's going to make your trip to the tournament a lot easier because you won't have to stand in line waiting to pay, getting your name registered, getting your Pokemon ID because you'll already have it. Um, you'll be able to just go straight to deck check, which is um, really convenient for you. So I really do recommend online registering if available. If not, then you can get there, but you need to get there early. And regardless, you want to get there. If registration is from like say like the upcoming cities for me is from like 10 to 10:30. Now they rarely get started right at 10:30, but you want to be there like right at 10 if at all possible because you don't want to be waiting to the last minute trying to get your deck list filled in and then getting your deck checked. Okay, so let's talk about that and some ways that you can speed that process up so that it's not as stressful for you, and it also helps the judges and the organizers out too. All right, so let's talk about online deck lists. Now, I know some of you like to wait till you get there and kind of see what the meta is showing you before you make your deck list. And I totally understand that. That's very viable. Matter of fact, the best of the best players usually don't make their deck lists right away, um, simply because they want to see what everybody else is. Try to find out as much information about what people are playing before they decide what they're going to play. But if you're kind of new to this and you know already that, look, I don't have a lot of resources, I'm playing this one deck, I know it really well, then we can go to this deck list generator. I forget it's pokegym.net is what I use. Slash deck list slash Pokemon dot HTM. And I'll put that link on here, or at least give you the link uh, in a pop-up bubble probably right above my head, so you can see that. But it allows you to go ahead and get your deck list created very quickly. It's much more quickly than if you go to handwrite it in. So let's say I want to play, like I just played Seismitoad Giratina. So you go to this Pokemon right here and you type in 4. So I'm playing 4 Seismitoad, and you just start typing Seismitoad EX. Okay, which Seismitoad EX am I using? Well, I don't have the full arts, let's say, so we're going to use the non-full arts. All right, you can see it now put that number in there for you. One of the biggest things that takes so much time is writing in what set the card came from and what number in the set that card is. This thing automatically has a database in it that finds it for you and makes your life so much easier. All right, and it also keeps a total number of cards here for you, and it'll tell you, look, maybe you thought you had 60 cards, but you only put 59 in. It'll tell you, hey, you only got 59 cards. You don't have a legal deck yet. So you can keep going. Say I'm going to put 4 Giratina in. All right, and I just type in Giratina and then select the one I'm going to use. Let's say I'm going to do 2 Shaman and play Shamans. And you can go on down, and then it has a place for supporters. So let's say I'm going to play 4 Professor Sycamore. So we start typing in Professor. We see Professor Birches. Oh, here we go, Professor Sycamore. We're going to play 4 of those. And then for energies, let's say we're playing 4 Double Dragons. All right. and we may need to go a little bit further, so we'll type in double drag, and there it is, pops up. Click on that, and you can see you can do your whole deck list so much faster on this than writing it in. Put your name, your pop ID, which is your Pokemon ID, date of birth, and it'll automatically, when you put the date of birth, it'll pop which division you're in. And then you can also put what kind of event is it a league challenge? We got cities coming up, so you can put that in. So this is just a really handy tool. Now if you're not going to if you're gonna do your deck when you get there because you're not sure what you're gonna play yet, what I recommend is at least get the name, pop ID, and date of birth down. Or if you're gonna, maybe you have it down to like 2 or 3 decks, then do a deck list for all 3 of them, so that when you get there you can just hand your deck to your to the judge, hand the deck list to them, and they can begin counting the cards, checking, make sure all the cards that you say are on the deck list are there, and so on and so forth. So you've come in, you've registered, you've paid for it. Now you're at then the deck check line. Another thing you need to be ready to do is have extra sleeves. The judges are going to check to see if your sleeves have any marks or any folded edges or corners. And the reason for that is, even though you know you're probably not going to cheat, it's very easy to mark your deck if there's marks on the deck sleeves. So if there's a lot of marks, you need to really consider bringing an extra set of sleeves and just re-sleeving everything. If there's only 1 or 2 marks, then just bring a couple extra of that sleeve type, and then be ready, because the judges will say this one's bad, this one's bad, this one's bad, and you'll need to re-sleeve them, and you'll need to show them the re-sleeved ones right there in their presence. So I just recommend, if you know you're going to go to a tournament, just re-sleeve everything and have them all ready to go. That's typically what I do, is I just put everything in new sleeves for a major tournament. Alright, so anyway, so you've gotten through the deck list. Now you might be chatting with people until the tournament actually starts. You can feel free to play with someone. Kind of gets the pre-game nerves out, so you can get a game in. When I played chess, I played chess tournaments, and one of the things is I'd often play, and I usually lose right before a tournament, and it felt really good because I kind of got that loss out, and then I was able to just kind of calm down and realize, hey, this is just a game. I am really playing to win, but you know, at the end of the day, it's still just about having fun. And really, remember, that is Pokemon's theme: have fun. So have fun with this. I mean, don't stress out about it. Just go in and do your very best and have fun. And like I said in the previous videos, make sure that you know the deck that you're going to play. Pick a deck that you're really good at, even if it's maybe not the best meta call for the deck, but you know the deck inside and out. That's the deck you should probably play, because it's the one you're most experienced with. Alright, moving right along. So the first round is going on. Let's talk about some rules of etiquette, some things that you need to do. And I know, especially if you're one of my younger viewers, this stuff is stuff you really need to pay attention to. The very first thing is, there's going to be a short period before the round actually starts where you're going to set up your set. Get set up, get the game set up, so that as soon as the judge says, hey, you may start, you can flip over your Pokemon and you can begin playing the game. So what do we do first? Now, I know some of my younger players, you just draw your 7 and go ahead and get your prizes out and decide who your active is. But the very first thing you should do before anything, you go ahead and shuffle your deck up, shuffle it really good. You need to know, you should pile shuffle, especially after deck check, because all your Pokemon are up front and all your trainers are together and all your energies together. So you should pile shuffle. What I mean by pile shuffle is where you take the cards and you put them into 6 to 8 different piles, and then you just keep going around and around until you have no more um, cards left in your hand. And then what I like to do is I like to take one of those piles and then I put that on all of the piles. Then I take another one and I just keep distributing the cards until I only have two piles left. And then you can shuffle them. You can either do the rip shuffle, or you can kind of just shuffle them in. One thing I don't recommend is just the like cut shuffles. Like some people just cut them a bunch of times, and that doesn't really truly randomize. So I really like it to rip through your deck. I hope you know what I'm talking about, where you take the two piles and you kind of curl them up so that they kind of shuffle in together. You need to do that 4 or 5 times. They actually say 7 times will give you a true random number. And the thing is you want your deck to be as random as possible, because the last thing you want to do is draw into 4 sycamores on your first turn, play your sycamores and you don't have any more, you know, or draw into like 5 Pokemon and have no trainer cards. So make sure you shuffle really, really well. All right, moving right along. So after you've shuffled, then you allow your opponent to cut, and then you can cut their deck. Now in Pokemon, they do have the rule that your opponent can actually shuffle your deck, and you also have the right to shuffle their deck. If they do that, then you have the right to cut your deck after they've shuffled. But most people just cut the deck and then move on. And that's what I recommend if you're a beginner. Just take part of the stack of their cards, put it over to the side, and then take the remaining and put it on top of the original stack you did. Then you have all your, then you don't need to worry about shuffling. You just cut for them and you can begin. Now at this point, you can either flip a coin. You need to flip it at least to your shoulder length, at least above your shoulders. Before you even flip, have your opponent call heads or tails. Then do the flip. Let it land on the table, and whatever it lands will determine if whoever wins the flip gets to decide who goes first. Then decide who is going to go first. Not until you have decided who is going first should you be drawing any cards. After you've decided who's going first, then you can draw 7 cards, and you can look and see if you have a basic Pokemon in your hand. If you do, or if you have more than one, choose the one you want, put it down, and if you want to bench any others, bench them, and then put your hand down and grab your next 6 cards and put them as your prizes. If you don't have any basic Pokemon in your hand, then you need to show your hand to your opponent and say, look, I got a mulligan here. And your opponent then gets to draw an extra card. But here's the key thing. If you or your opponent mulligan, you do not and they do not take the extra card until after you've put your prizes up and until after your opponent has a basic on their bench. The reason for that is you aren't supposed to be drawing the next 6 cards. Those next 6 cards are supposed to be your prizes. And the reason why you don't want to draw the next card, like say they mulligan, you don't want to go ahead and grab the mulligan because they may mulligan again. And you don't want to, you may lose count of how many mulligans they've taken. So the best thing to do is once you've got your prizes set up, take a die and put the number of mulligans on top of the deck. So if they mulligan once, you put the 1 on top. If they mulligan a second time, switch it to 2. Don't worry about just looking at those cards until they've got their basic Pokemon in play and they're getting their prizes set up. Well, then after they do that, you just politely say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and take my mulligans, remove the dice, and put those mulligans in your hand, the extra card draws into your hand. If you want to take them, realize that you're not obligated to take the mulligans, and in some decks, it's important that you don't take the mulligans. Archie's, if you are playing Archie's Ace in the Hole, and you know you got to turn 1 Archie's with your hand right now, you don't have to take those mulligans. So, feel free to not take them if you don't want. All right, now you're all set up. You do not go any further at that point. You wait for a judge to say, Pokemon players, round 1 is beginning. Whatever round it is begin. You may begin. And at that point, whoever has determined to go first, you should shake their hand. flip your all your Pokemon over, and then the person who gets to go first will start the game at that point. All right, let's talk about a couple little housekeeping things too as you're in the game. So one thing you should never, never, never do is when two people are playing in a tournament, let's say your match is already finished and you're free to leave the table. Matter of fact, I think you're supposed to leave the table. Um, you can quietly talk to people who have already finished their matches, but in no way should you be talking or distracting people that are still playing. If you can do it without distracting anybody, you can't. You typically, the judges will allow you to watch the games, but you need to be watching from several feet back, like 4 or 5 feet from the match. You don't need to be right over them because those people are in a heated contest, especially the ones that are coming down to the wire in time. Those games tend to be the most intense, and people are trying to get a win before the time limit goes so they don't end up getting a draw. So you need to be very considerate of people. Do not talk to them. Do not ask them if they want to trade cards. They're playing a tournament, people. They don't want to trade cards while they're playing in a tournament. So please be respectful of those people. If you want to go talk to some other people that have already finished, do so, but do it quietly. Whisper, please. And don't do anything that's distracting. Don't jump up and down. Don't rattle chairs. Don't shake tables. Don't do anything that would distract other people, because how would you feel if you were the person playing? You've got a board position that's very complicated, and you're trying to figure out what's the best way for you to win the game, and someone's over there shaking a table or jumping up and down or just overall distracting. Another thing I should mention is if at any point in the game you feel like something is not right and you don't feel obligated to talk to your opponent about it, you can ask them, but call a judge over and let the judge handle it. The judge may issue warnings or penalties based on how severe uh, 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 an infraction may have happened. Like some common things that do happen is someone forgetting to put their 6 prizes out. If that happens, it's possible that you could automatically lose the game. But there are some certain conditions that have to happen if you forget to put your prizes out. If it's early in the game and you catch it, still let your judge know and tell them, look, the key thing is if you haven't used any search cards like ultra balls or level balls or something that would allow you to look through your deck and search a Pokemon, then you'll probably just get a warning or a slap on the wrist. But if it happens a second time, you may end up getting a 1 prize penalty. If it happens more than that, you may get a 3 prize penalty, and if you happen to forget to put your 6 prizes out and you search your deck 3 or more times, then it does end up being a result of a game loss. So that's one of those things that make sure you do put your 6 prizes out. Also, if you change the board state, I'll give you an example. Ace Trainer. It's one of those cards that can't be played unless you have more prize cards than your opponent. Someone one time played that when they thought that whoever had taken more prize cards got the advantage and got to use it against their opponent. They played it and shuffled their hand into their deck, and I had to point out, I said, look, that's not how it plays. So be careful, because what ended up happening is they could not remember what cards were in their hand, and it was an automatic game loss for them. And I won by default, even if you're way ahead. So be careful. Make sure that you're doing just exactly what the card says to do. Otherwise, you can get penalties for that. Finally, always have good sportsmanship, no matter what, whether you win or whether you lose. If you're a winner, be a gracious winner. Don't rub it in people's face. And if you're a loser, tell the winner good game, because everybody is going to win at some point in their in their Pokemon tournament. Everybody's going to lose at some point in their Pokemon tournament. Be happy for the person who won, and just do better next time. And then again, I've already said this, but finally, have fun. Pokemon has been designed so that you have fun. Yes, we want to have competition. We want to see who are the best players, but ultimately, some of the games are all up to coin flips anyway, and so there is a level of luck. So just have fun. Anyway, guys, this is PokeDad. This is just a small tournament primer. If you're thinking about playing in a tournament, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. I'll be glad to help you out. I actually am a judge. I went through the application process and have been approved, so I can help you with many judge questions, even though I don't know all the rulings. And then finally, hit like for me, and subscribe. Put in comments that you have in any anecdotes or stories that you may want to share. Put those in the comments below, and we will talk to you later. This is PokeDad signing out.